Hello and welcome back to UML Operator. In this episode, we're going to be talking about partitions. I refer to these as boundaries. There are different types of partitions, whether you're using activity diagrams or you're using BPMN, business process modeling notation, where this is a pool and this is a lane. There's also a common element literally called boundary. And when you're doing use case modeling, you're also going to have the notion of a boundary, and this is where you identify the systems. I tend not to use these two. I try to use an activity boundary, and the reason for that is that I can double click on this and immediately get to the properties window. Now you can see here, this is an activity partition, and what we're going to do is use these primarily for our modeling practices when we want to set boundaries at the start of a modeling exercise, especially a complex one. It's like creating an outline for what you're going to produce within a particular model. The thing is that with the activity partitions, we're able to add notes, intelligence, and we're able to manage metadata up to tags. With the common boundary, I can double click on it. I do not get that capability. Even in the use case boundary, we're going to talk about this more, I'll actually show the toolboxes that have these elements, the same thing. You just can format, that's about all you can do. In the business process modeling partition, if you double click on it, you get this BPEL2 property dialog box. And if you click general, you can get to your typical SQL data properties that allow you to put in the notes and manage metadata. Now notice over here that with the pool element partition boundary, you get some extra metadata. This metadata you do not get when you are in, if we go out here, the properties are a little bit different when you're looking at them. And when you're using lanes, you get some, here we go, let's go to main. You get the dialog box almost immediately, and you get some different properties. You get advancing, you get BPMN2 properties, and as well as getting tags. The reason I like to use the activity partition is because I can get just to the basic documentation, intelligence gathering, data elicitation that I want to do. Plus I get all of this other stuff, files, I get scenarios. I can actually build scenarios at the partition level and so much more. So let's get into it and show you what I do when I'm starting modeling, whether it's a simple model or whether it's a very complicated large model, as we've been talking about in the previous episodes. So, and the other benefit here is that I can actually put this in an inventory and reuse this intelligence, this boundary, whether I'm doing a small diagram or a large diagram. If I'm doing a small diagram with it's just one system, I won't do this. But if it includes multiple systems where I need to understand the different partitions or boundaries within the architecture or whatever the subject matter is, I will use this element actually to start out with, and we're going to talk about more. So let's get started. All right, so we have a blank work area. We've created an empty folder and we're going to add a diagram. So the diagram we're going to choose is structural class diagram because we're going to do a block diagram for architecture. We'll go ahead and create it. All right, you'll notice that the toolbox is over on the left for me and we don't have any partitions down here. But if we hit the space bar and we go to common elements, we have boundaries available. Again, I don't like to use boundaries because I can't put any content, any intelligence in there. So we're going to get rid of this and we're going to add an activity partition. All right, there's a couple of ways to get to the partitions we want to use. Number one is you can change the toolbox. Come up to this hamburger menu, come down here, choose activity, and there we go. We have partition. Another way to do this is actually to change the diagram type to make the toolbox default for activity diagrams. Now, if I close this diagram and I reload it, I'm going to get the default toolbox for class diagram. So if I go to design and go to the diagram panel, go to options, I can change the type here and I go to behavioral activity. And now the toolbox, the default toolbox for this diagram type is going to be activity diagram. You want to ask yourself 4 questions when you're starting to model. Number 1, is this a class or an object model? Is it an activity or a behavioral model? Is it a flow diagram, like for instance, business process modeling notation? And then how many elements do you need? Do we need to complete our analysis? And you may not know these questions in the beginning. That's why being able to change the diagram type on the fly to get the right tooling quickly, or using the hamburger menu in the toolbox to choose the diagram type you want to get to the elements that you want. Let's move this over here and let's turn this into what looks like a boundary. All right, the first thing you want to do when you create one is to give it a name. See how easy it is to get to the properties. Just one click and you're there. We're just going to call this company, and you notice that this is a partition for an activity, the way that this is configured. Now, you can certainly put that at the top, leave this configuration, leave it on the side. It doesn't matter. What we're going to be doing is right-clicking here, going to Appearance, and Enable Custom Draw Style. And there we go. Now we've created that, and we get an additional tool to the right when we select the element. It's a paintbrush, another paintbrush. You've got this one, and then you have this one that gives you these tools right here. And this gives us the ability to do things. If I go over to the third one from the left, I can take the name and I can put it top center. I can put it top left. I can put it left center. Here we go, like that. So it doesn't really matter. What I'm going to be doing is making this top left, first one to choose. And then I'm going to change the color, the default color of this custom element here, this draw element. I'm just going to make it white. There we go. We got ourselves what looks like a boundary. And if I double click it, I can get to a lot of intelligence. And you can start sizing these depending on how big you think the model is going to get. And in the previous episode, we talked about page borders. Let's go ahead and don't hide them and zoom out. You can see this is 8.5 by 11 paper, and you can start to get an idea if you want to change the size and font. So this is default regular 8 point. We're going to make this bold 10 and see what that looks like. And if you're in an 8.5 by 11 page, this lettering might be too small. So go ahead and adjust the font to anything you want, 12, and start setting that. And you can also change the color of the font right here, change the color of the font. We might do something in, let's say this color purple or something like that. All right. And then again, size these any way you want. And you'll notice that because we went to custom draw, we no longer can set the name, see, to the left, to the top. We don't get that. We are in custom draw. This is pretty much the tool that we're going to be using to set things like opacity. Come here, I'll set it to 50, and we'll talk about why we set the opacity this level 50%, is if we want to do intersections. The next thing we want to do is ask the question, how many system boundaries do we think we're going to need in this model to address while we're working in this small and simple size? So what we're going to be doing is copying this and then hitting Control, Shift, and V, because we want to paste element as new. And you can name it here. You can double click in here and say, hey, this is going to be the service layer or services. And then you can hit paste. And you notice the intersections here because we set the opacity to 50%. That can be useful later on as we're building out this model. And we'll do the same for how many other systems we think we need. Right, so we're going to add the remainder of our partitions in, just drop them anywhere you want. And then what we'll be able to do is organize these, add the intelligence before we even start bringing in any diagram elements as part of these partitions. Right now, we have organized our partitions how we want them to fit in this diagram. Just to start out, remember we're brainstorming right here. We still haven't added any elements, but we're going to set these up. And we look at our timeline from where we started using timelines in Sparx 17. Let's just show a snapshot. So we started out with a single partition, then we changed it and gave it a name top left here to custom draw. And then we did some sizing, some styling, and then we started adding in other elements, organizing those elements, and got to this particular point in the size, shape, and style that we want. Let's go ahead and change the size of this. We're going to go to pan and zoom and make this fit a little bit here. Let's just zoom out a little bit more to see the whole thing. There we go. We can start drawing in relationships. So this particular system area, this partition, is going to be relevant to the service layer. So we're just going to draw in a dependency or an association. Now, with partitions using activity diagrams, I have dependencies, but I don't have associations. So I want to get to a control flow. I come over to the tools over here and I hold down the left mouse button and drag it over, and I can get a control flow, and then I can come in and give this a name. And we might do something like deployment in here to give a name for what we believe this relevance is between this element and this element, these partitions. Let's go ahead and delete this one. So we can draw in our connectivity this way if we want. And then we can do things like styling. We can make this a little bit larger size. We'll make that 4, something like that, right? And then you can do that for other partitions, other elements that are in here during modeling. As part of our brainstorming exercise, another really cool thing you can do here with custom draw style, and we set the opacity. Let's create another diagram in here, and I'm just going to call it Venn for now. I don't want to use the same name as the package or the other diagram. I'm just going to say Venn as in a Venn diagram. And then what I can do is I can come in, select all of these elements, Control C to copy, and then Shift Insert. We want links in here for these. And then what I can do on this is I can change the shape using the first one here to ellipse. And because we had set, let's make all of these the same size for now. And matter of fact, what I want to do is make this one a little larger, and then I can hide individual links, visibility hide, or I can double click into the diagram properties, connectors, and then not show relationships so that I have a nice clean element. Now remember, we put it in the top left. For our Venn diagram, what we want to do is we're going to hit the brush. We've selected all of them, so this is going to be applied to all of them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to center. So now what we can do is shape these. We can set the size of these. I'm going to select all of them and then not select this one, make it the same size as this. And we can start doing Venn intersections in our model to have a conversation about what we want to accomplish within this modeling exercise here. We want these to be intersecting, and we want lineage to be intersecting with storage. And then maybe I want to put this one on the top to make the line show up like that. Move this one over. And then now we're creating a Venn diagram with all of the intelligence that we put in the original partitions. Right, then we go back to our block diagram with our partitions, and we can start adding in text fields that allow us to describe each one of them as visual aids for reporting and presentation. So now we have a good diagram that's showing us what's going on within this particular brainstorming exercise. We have put intelligence in each one of those, which then can show up as, let's go to specification. Here we get all of this intelligence that's in here for us to reuse. This allows us to go back and forth and document this architecture while maintaining our Venn diagram, which is linked. These are linked partitions, just with a different style, where we can do the same thing. We can go into specification and we're sharing the linked intelligence between these two to work from this direction, whether in presentations or in reporting, or this directional view, same thing, reporting or presentations. And then as we're progressing from the top down, we can work with application groups from the bottom up. And in our partitions, we can start adding applications. So this gives us the ability to start adding applications into our partitions and continuing to work through our discovery and our design progression. So again, specification view, able to look at all of the intelligence from the partitions to the individual applications that we're bringing in, either manually directly or through our asset repository, bringing in these reusable assets, including partitions, to build our models. All right, we're going to wrap up now. I hope this episode was helpful for you. Please leave comments and questions down below, all right? Let me know what you're thinking or problems that you're having, and let's try to get through them. I think this is a very important conversation and important subject matter that you should know. Whether you're starting small models or you're building larger models, complicated models, the ability to brainstorm is critical for you, all right? So you can work with smaller models or you can build on larger models, all starting from partitioning. It's all starting from understanding what you want to model, when you want to model it, putting the intelligence in there, having those conversations. You can use journal as you're discussing particular or planning particular elements. If you're in a team environment, they can work with a journal as you're working through your delivery. So a very powerful way to get started, to have conversations with technical and non-technical stakeholders as you're going into, as you're adding your elements and you're building either your smaller diagrams from a large master diagram, as we learned in the previous video, or whether you just want to build a larger diagram and then start working from there. All of your intelligence is in a Sparx SQL database, allowing you to view it, slice it, and dice it any way that you want. Being able to look at your connectivity, as you've learned in the channel, you can go in and look at all of the elements and how they're relevant to each other, access that intelligence all in real time, and collaborate, discuss, and journalize your concerns as you're building your model-driven anything subject. All right, so thanks again for watching, and until that next episode, happy modeling.